Hello, and welcome to week 3 of the PGL. I know this intro is a little different than normal. Normally we jump straight into the battle, and we'll get to that in just a second. I just spent a lot more time on my team this week and kind of wanted to give a quick team builder on some of my thoughts on why some of my sets look so weird. Um, so my opponent's team, super threatening this week. I'm not surprised at all if I get 2-0'd because this is one of the most creative teams and my opponent's one of the most creative players in the league. But we're going to try. So what we're going up against this week is Mousehold, which can either be super threatening offensively with Population Bomb, or a really good support Pokemon with Follow Me, Taunt, Super Fang, things like that. And paired beside it is one of the best offensive setup type Pokemon in the game in Armarouge, who could take advantage of weak armor weakness policy, could also set Trick Room, even gets Wide Guard. So very hard initial two to beat, and then a ton of great support options at the end. So Tornadus that can set Tailwind, spam Bleak Wind Storms, a Gastrodon that completely shuts down my water type moves, which I am bringing this week. Mimikyu, which can either set up Trick Room pretty much always for free into my team, or it can set up something like a Sword Stance and really do a lot of damage. Bellybolt is really hard for my team to KO, especially if he commits the Terra to Bellybolt. So we'll see how that goes. The only thing going for me is its move pool is so shallow. Although I do kind of expect some kind of shenanigans with Sucker Punch Bellybolt into weakness policy uh, Armarouge. So we'll see if that comes to pass. I don't know why. I feel like he's going to bring it. And then he's got some decent support at the end. So Sneasel with Fake Out, the Hisuian form. At least it's not the Surf version to power up Armarouge. And then Sliggoo. He's brought both weak so far, and in a vacuum, disregarding things like Terra types, his Sliggoo could actually 1v1 my Goodra if I somehow lost leftovers or if he's more defensively invested. So anyway, that's the matchup, and the team I've got planned for this is pretty strange, I will say. So here's what we're looking at. First game, I'm going to lead the Oricorio, which I think has a surprisingly good matchup into his team, and the landorus-therian. So Oricorio was helping hand like super supportive, super bulky at first, but it's so easy for him to just bring taunt on so many different Pokemon, and it shuts down every support Mon I can bring. It shuts down Grimmsnarl, it shuts down Fungus, and it shuts down supportive Mons like Oricorio. So I thought it was better to just run full offense. Now, it does still have Rain Dance, of course, and we'll get to that. I thought Rain Dance was nice insurance because I'm running Special Landorus this week. I have Sandsear Storm because burning some of his physical mons could be really clutch if I do get that 20%. Ground moves are just very easy to spam into my opponent, except for Tornadus and Terra Electric. Terra Blast should always OHKO the Tornadus unless it's something like Assault Vest, which I don't think it will be because he does want Tailwind against me to outspeed Spectre. And then Oricorio itself, really supportive with the Icy Wind, Revelation Dance, which the Ghost move is powerful into things like Mimikyu and Armarouge, but then we can also Terra into a ground type to help it 1v1 Bellybolt if he's already committed his Terra. The other Pokemon I plan on bringing game 1 are Goodra. With the Fairy Terra, we can handle a Body Press Sliggoo, and we can also handle a lot of his Pokemon better. I don't think many people bring super effective coverage into fairies against me, so I thought it was pretty useful. And then Spectre. We have a much more supportive Spectre this week. We really didn't need that much power investment because assuming he invests into bulk, Spectre is not one-shotting anything. So just having the ability to either Snarl or Will-O-Wisp and really weaken him for like Landorus plus Goodra to win in the end with the Assault Vest plus Life Dew, I think is really valuable for our team. And a lot of his Pokemon just barely don't KO Spectre, so I thought slapping on a Citrus Berry would be pretty nice. Then we have Quaquaval, and it looks really strange. It's a really odd set, but Oricorio's Dancer ability means it can use any dancing move directly after the dancing Pokemon, if that makes any kind of sense. Aqua Step is a dancing move. So game 2, assuming I win or do okay game 1, and I feel like I could use the water coverage, especially if there's no Gastrodon, I would really like to set a Rain Dance with Oricorio, go for Aqua Step with Quaquaval, and then Oricorio will immediately follow up with another Aqua Step, both Rain boosted. This will should always KO Armarouge, except maybe in Friend Guard. and do a ton of damage to other Pokemon, along with giving me a massive speed boost for the next turn, meaning I can start spamming those perfectly accurate Hurricanes in the rain. And then if that doesn't work out, or if I really have a problem with him bringing Trick Room, I have the Fungus. The Fungus is really just here to counter Trick Room, be bulky, and if he taunts it, it's still useful. It has Foul Play and Pollen Puff. So that's what we're running with today. Let's get into the battle. And welcome back. We are here with Cram now. This is like maybe 90 seconds after the team builder was recorded. And we are looking at his team. He did bring a lot of threats. He did not bring Armor Rouge, which I now think I way over prep for. We do still need to send the other two challenges, but I am going to write down his team real quick. His Torn T is Steel Terra, which is actually really good news for Landorus. His Mousehold is Dark Terra, which I guess makes it immune to Prankster Taunt, which is a good bring on his part, but I did not bring Grimmsnarl this week. His Mimikyu is Water Terra. Trying to think about what that would be for. I'm not sure, actually. Unless he has, like, Terra Blast planned for Delphox. Going to accept the second game. Yeah, Water Mimikyu's odd. We've got Low Kicks, that's dark, that's scary, because he definitely wants to spam those Tinted Lens Dark-type moves, and we didn't bring Grimmsnarl, so that could be a little tough. He's got Electric-type Sneasel. Another really interesting bring. I feel like he prepped for Quacklevel really hard. I don't know, maybe I'm imagining things. And Ghost-type Gastrodon. So unfortunately he does bring the Gastrodon. That does make my plan a lot worse. Alright, so we've got all three games up now. So we do have a set plan. Game 1. This is going to be a little weird. So this week we didn't bring Varoom, we didn't bring Delphox, we didn't bring Braviary. He didn't have any kind of real stat droppers on his team that I could tell. And I don't know, I think my other Pokemon just looked better. And he didn't bring Grimmsnarl. We didn't bring Grimmsnarl. He did not bring Armor Rouge, which, again, crazy. He did not bring Belly Bolt, which is kind of a relief. Did not bring the Leafeon, I expected, and did not bring the Sliggoo. So, we are just going to go with our set lead, Oricorio and Landorus. We're going to have Goodra in the back, and we're going to have Spectre in the back, and we're going to hope for the best. He is not yet locked in. So, the reason I'm leading this, if he leads Sneasel, then I get an Intimidate on at least its partner. And then I can bring in Spectre and be completely immune to Fake Out. So that'll be a pretty solid duo because this Oricorio is offensive. I was pretty worried when I built it to be supportive that if I had Oricorio and Spectre in at the same time, they would be way too passive. Now, him having the dark type low kicks is very scary because I'm sure a Sucker Punch obliterates either of my ghosts. Luckily, one is Focus Sash and the other has Will-O-Wisp, so I can kind of play around it a little. But regardless, it's going to be a tough matchup. Alright, so turn 1, he leads with the Tornadus and the Mousehold. So Mousehold is never able to KO Landorus, assuming it's Wide Lens. If it's not Wide Lens, then that's very bold. So I could Terra turn 1, try to burst it down with a big Terra Blast, but he could also Terra into Steel. I don't think he will in front of Landorus, though. He did not bring any Ice Resist, which, you know, doesn't matter much into my team except for Icy Wind. If he sets a Tailwind here, and I go for Icy Wind, he still has the speed advantage, but that at least puts us in a better situation going forward. He could also go for just a Bleak Wind, which makes my Rain Dance a little worse. So, I think this turn 1, we'll go for an Icy Wind, slow him down a little. Steel Terra. That's tough. I don't want to bring Gudra in just yet. We do see an Intimidate on both, so neither of these are his Clear Amulet. I'm sure the Clear Amulet's around somewhere. I think I will just switch in Spectre. I am saving Landorus for the late game. So Mouse protects. Okay, so he's got a similar plan. He goes for Icy Wind. I go for Icy Wind back. But we do see that he is faster. So, unfortunately, this means we're almost certainly slower with Spectre, and our Sash is broken. So I could have just Terra'd Landorus turn 1 and taken the KO. So I probably should have done that. I don't know. I expected him to follow me Tailwind or something like that, turn 1. So another Icy Wind might KO Oricorio. We can check the calc quickly. It's unfortunate. That could have been an insane turn 1. It should never 2-hit KO based on the bulk I have. Maybe his mouse hold attacks as well. But I will just try to slow him down. And I will go for a burn on the mouse. So he does bite. 30% chance to flinch. We do get the burn on the mouse, so that's nice. And then he Bleak Wins, and that KOs Oricorio. Okay. So now his offenses are really not that good for Gudra. Adversely, I could go into Landorus here. The thing is, I want to save that Intimidate, because 3 of his 4 back mons are physical. So I think I go Gudra and start setting up Acid Armors, although either of these could be Taunt. So we can also check. Icy Wind should have done about 30% to Torn, which it did. So that makes me think this is not Friend Guard Mouse. It makes me think it is Technician, and Bite kind of follows up on that assumption. I could also just go Landorus and try to blow up this Tornadus now. But if I Terra Landorus, then I'm weaker to Gastrodon in the end game. So we'll go Gudra. I think Gudra really is not threatened by anything he wants to do, doesn't mind being slowed down. I will try to Acid Armor. If he focuses into the Gudra, that's okay. Because that means I do get a free Snarl, and I really do get to weaken this Tornadus. Adversely, I could go for a Shadow Ball, or even a Will-O-Wisp into the Tornadus, because I feel like he might want to switch that slot into something like the Low Kicks. I think I will just go for damage into it, though. I will go for the Shadow Ball. He has a resist in Low Kicks, and Mimikyu can eat a hit. Okay, he protects. Bites into Spectre again. We do flinch, which doesn't matter because we hit into his protect, and we set up an Acid Armor. So I feel like if he has Taunt, he definitely goes for it here. So I will go for a Muddy Water. And I will protect the Spectre because I do think he's focusing it really hard. So he might just go for a Bleak Wind here to try to weaken it down. So Icy Wind, Bleak Wind, protect. Pretty supportive Torn. Ah, shoot. It's Encore Mouse. That's unfortunate. It's really not doing much, though. So if he can miss his Bleak Wind, then I can KO the mouse and be at +6. So we'll go for a Snarl here, kind of giving up Spectre, so that I can bring in Landorus and hopefully take care of the mouse. Darn, so the supported mouse is going to be really annoying. Do drop a Snarl, and Bleak Wind does hit the horse. Does it KO? It doesn't even KO. Come on, man, make your Tornadus stronger. I need Gudra to be able to do something else. So we'll Snarl again. Okay, Low Kicks comes in, horse gets knocked out. We're already at +4, or sorry, +6 times 4. We bring in the Landorus. Is it Clear Amulet? Yes, there's the Clear Amulet. So that's very intimidating. So the mouse's Bite on Core Protect, probably Pop Bomb. He hasn't went for it yet, but I mean, it's a pretty safe assumption. And then the Low Kicks, Clear Amulet is very scary because I did not bring Terra Fly this time. I will try to move with Gudra. I know he'll just Encore it again. And then, can I knock out? Is it worth the 80% risk? Landorus. Let me see. our landorus-therian into a mouse hold. It seems to be pretty bulky. Yeah, wow, we are not KOing it from that. Even though our snarl, if we look at how much our snarl did, it did 20% to the mouse. So if we look at our Spectre custom set, yeah, it's not nearly as bulky as this calc is showing. So to do 20, yeah, he may be no bulk, which would be kind of weird, but it is a roll for Spectre Snarl. Then this Landorus set, Terra should, it's a roll, but it's in my favor. So we'll just go for the Terra. Mouse does Encore again. Oh my gosh. Taunt plus Encore. That's brutal. I'm going to be struggling with Goodra. Dang. Yeah, so I have no option but to struggle with Goodra. The funny thing is, if his last Pokemon is physical, then Goodra gets knocked down to 50% off of these two struggles. And then it still kind of has a chance to win if his last Pokemon is Mimikyu or Sneasel, which probably unlikely. What's more of a threat? I think Tornadus is more of a threat just since it's a special attacker, so we'll just try to Terra Blast into it. Okay, he does Dark Low Kicks. Icy Wind slows both of us down. Assurance. Alright, okay, I don't have a chance. This game, that's crazy tech. I really like that. So the fast Tornadus Icy Wind doesn't do that much damage, but then he gets a massive Assurance. That's insane. So if we look at Assurance, just look into Landorus. I took damage. He's Dark Terra. Yeah, I mean, he's not banded. He's not Life Orb, but assuming he's something like Black Glasses. No, he's Clear Amulet. Sorry. Forgot about the amulet for a second. I mean, yeah, that was at least a roll on Landorus. I will struggle with Goodra. Bleak Wind does 14%. Assurance does 17%. So we're only taking a little bit per turn, but I think it's not enough. So the Taunt and the Encore both in, but we don't have Protect, unfortunately. So he did a combined of 30% there, so we're just barely not healing enough. Dang, that was a sick tech. And I don't even get to see what is last. Oh, but he missed the Bleak Wind, so I should have Life Dude there. We do Muddy Water. I could have Body Pressed the Low Kicks, I suppose. That would have been the better play. I will Life Dew this turn, but it doesn't matter. So I could have healed. It would have taken a lot of luck. So he does take game one. I did misplay that last turn because I should have went for the Life Dew, hoping he would miss Icy Wind. I do think, man, that's tough. Taunt and Encore. So I knew he'd have it somewhere. I didn't think it'd be on the low kick, so I thought this would be more of like a banded variant. Otherwise, Goodra would have just won there in the end game. Even if I went for Life Dew there, he would have still hit me for 30%. I would have been at 50, so knock down to 20, knock out the low kicks, and then if Gastro was in the back, he still wins. But if it was either of the other two, we could have pulled that out. So I don't know. So Torn, we know is Bleak Wind, we know is Icy Wind, and we know is Protect. Don't know the item. We know low kicks is Assurance and Taunt. So we cannot set up Goodra, which makes this a lot more awkward. It's also really hard to set up our Quaquaval into this Tornadus. And then we know Mimikyu. We know that this is Protect, Bite, Encore. So I guess I shouldn't have ignored the mouse instantly. I assumed it was just the offensive set. Okay, so how do we adjust? for a team that completely destroys Goodra. I think Spectre was a good lead. I can snarl the Tornadus and really nerf it instantly. And Landorus putting an Intimidate onto the Mousehold immediately was also really nice. I know I can't intimidate the low kicks. Spectre would also be really nice to have that Spore in the background. But we do know he's Taunt, so... And we know he's probably not Trick Room. So, Fungus is not showing up here. Unless it's to eat one Taunt or Encore to let Goodra set up once. But I don't see that happening. Quaquaval could be a potential bring. It's just that Tornadus lead makes it a little less makes me a little less enthusiastic about that lead. So if we look at Quaquaval, I mean, it always KOs the low kicks. Even in the rain, Aqua Step has a chance against Tornadus of the Therian variety. I mean, Aqua Step could KO. I think I'm just gonna lead the big combo. We gotta see this tech before I trade away Quaquaval. We will bring the horse because I do think it's really strong into him. I think Landorus is good, but it just gets assurance down. So I think just the Goodra at its base form, I don't know. Body press plus Muddy Water is really not great if all he can do, if he can taunt or encore me with everything. I think Landorus is a better play. Alright, different lead. Starts with low kicks plus Torn this time. So, do I try to KO the low kicks instantly? We know it's clear amulet, so it may protect turn 1. If I get speed up on Quaquaval, then I can encore something next turn. He might Icy Wind again, but I think I can Aqua Step pretty safely into the Tornadus and set up Rain. And we're just going to see if it works, you know? This game's for fun. Obviously we're trying for playoffs and we have a hellish schedule in front of us, but I do want to have some fun with it, and I think this is a really cool tech that literally no one knows about. How this could go badly? Bleak Wind and Hurricane should never KO this, or Hurricane KOs this Quaquaval. Bleak Wind should never KO. So he does get his speed up. And Assurance does not knock out Quaquaval, so that's nice. We set up Rain, we Aqua Step, and we get the Dancer, Aqua Step, KO the Torn instantly. Unfortunately, he did Icy Wind, so we are only at neutral speed. But we did get the tech, so it's not a complete loss. Unfortunately, low kicks is incredibly fast, but even if he's max speed, our Oricorio is 1 point faster. So there's the Gastrodon. We are Terra Grass, but he might just KO us with Sucker Punch. What is the bigger threat here to the rest of my team? Landorus can handle Gastrodon, so I can play the 50-50 game, water versus ground move, with my Terra, as long as I don't use it. And Spectre has a pretty decent matchup in a Gastrodon as well. So I think the threat is this low kicks. So I will drop a close combat into it. I could slow it down with Icy Wind. No, I can't slow it down with Icy Wind. It's Clear Amulet. Sorry, I keep forgetting. New items catch me off guard still. And I will just drop a Hurricane. Rocky Helmet Quack. Yep. It's a very good set. Does a Hurricane from Oricorio KO, assuming he Sucker Punches my Quaquaval? So if it's a low kicks, but it's only a dark type, Hurricane still should one-shot from there. It does 84 min, and I assume he runs max speed. So we'll just go double into it. So he does Sucker, goes down. Hurricane does kill it. Okay, so we're up a Pokemon. Ice Beam. Okay, we're not up a Pokemon. Ate my words a little. So he does have Gastrodon, and we get to see what his fourth is. We do bring in Landorus. His fourth is Mimikyu this time. Not great optics for me. So what do we do here? I know we don't. We could Dark Terra Spectre, But I think I did EV the Spectre to always live a Mimikyu Shadow Sneak. Let me look. Life Orb. Oh yeah, this Spectre always lives a Mimikyu Shadow Claw. And that's without Intimidate. So Mimikyu is really not the threat here. It really can't do too much unless it gets a Sword Stance up. So I could burn it. I think I want to get rid of the Gastrodon though. I could also Terra Spectre, but that just makes it weak to play rough. So I think I'll go for a Snarl, weaken the Gastrodon. And Ice Beam does probably KO Landorus here, even after a Snarl. I can check. Landorus-therian. We are Assault Vest. We are really, really bulky. And the rain is up, so Sandsear actually does like half to Mimikyu. And then Gastrodon. I mean, Sandsear into Grass Knot should KO Gastrodon. And an Ice Beam doesn't KO me. Doesn't even get close. If I Terra, it's even better. And an Earth Power doesn't two-shot. So we'll Terra, and we'll go for a Sandsear. So we Snarl. Break Mimi's Disguise. Do 10% to Gastrodon. Sandsear hits both. Thunder Wave, okay. So supportive. And then Ice Beam, don't freeze. Thank you. Alright. Not bad. Winnable. Spectre does not like this matchup, but winnable. So let's see. If that Sandsear did 27 to Gastrodon, that is a bulky Gastrodon. It is very specially invested because the standard set should have taken at least 30. So if we modify what we're looking at until Gastrodon takes 27%, man. So it's max health and a lot of SPDF. That means Grass Knot's doing 58 to 69. So a roll at best, but a roll probably not in our favor. So I think I can just go for a Shadow Ball and a Mimikyu, assuming Mimikyu just wants to KO the Spectre. And I think I can just go for a Gastrodon into Gastrodon. A Grass Knot into Gastrodon. We do KO. That probably was a roll, so I apologize for that. Spectre absolutely eats that hit and takes the KO on Mimikyu with Shadow Ball. So, man. Alright, I need to go back to game one. I said, I was like, did I not say GG game one? Because if I didn't, I'm an asshole. Okay, we're good. So we win game two, if only narrowly, and it's fully because of our rain tech, which is super cool. I'm so glad that the rain tech actually paid off into Gastrodon. I was so nervous I was just going to give that Tornadus free Bleak Winds. So we can take more notes here. We know that, yeah, it's Icy Wind, lead Torn. We know Assurance, we know Sucker Punch now on the low kick. We know the Gastrodon is Ice Beam, and it's SPDF. He probably knows I'm Assault Vest Landorus now. I took literally no damage from that hit. And we know the Mimi is Thunderwave Shadow Claw. So he brought some heat. He brought a lot of stuff to help him deal with Goodra. So this is cool. Cram and I are two of the last three undefeated people, which is only round 3, of course. So this game will decide who remains undefeated other than one other person who might watch this. So getting rid of Goodra was really good for me. I feel like he expects that game 2, or game 3 though, right? And he definitely anticipates the Quacklevolt lead. I think going back to Mouse would be really strong for him. I think we could go with the Oricorio lead game 3. We could also go with a Spectre Landorus lead and try to just destroy this Torn immediately. Go ahead, just go Terra Electric, delete it. Because that Icy Wind spam is really annoying. So I will do that. I will try to lead Spectre. I think it has a great matchup in his team, especially with what he's shown me so far. And then the Oricorio has been good. It's been great support. It got the double Aqua step into the Tornadus. So that was huge. I'm so glad that paid off. I don't think he lets it happen again. I think Gastrodon guaranteed comes either in the back or in the front. This bird without that tech is just not that good. But also, Quackable is not that good. So this is hard. This is a really hard decision. So if I lead these two, he leads Tornadus, I can Snarl. Don't even have to Terra. I could bring Goodra back. I think he preps harder for my non-Goodra Pokemon, and I think Terra Goodra can win this. How can Terra Goodra win? Maybe with Fungus on the side. Maybe we try to steal a taunt away from Goodra with the Fungus if we can time it correctly, and set up one body, or one Iron Defense or Acid Armor. It's tough. It's really tough. This is a hard team to deal with. I just don't know how good Fungus is now that he's shown so much, like, disruption. It's really hard to justify Fungus. But these two have to come together, so I think we bring Fungus. So he leads the Gastrodon, leads the Mimikyu. So completely new lead. That's really cool. We can Grass Knot. We can Will-O-Wisp the Mimikyu. It probably Thunder Waves the Spectre here. So I could even go into the Fungus on the Mimi Thunder Wave, because I don't mind if Fungus is paralyzed. Which also means I could just Protect and Grass Knot the Gastrodon, try to weaken it instantly. It is one of the Pokemon that's really standing in my way. Tough decision. I think I will... Is it worth trading a Willow on the Mimi for Landorus? Or for Spectre's speed? Because Spectre being so fast is the reason it threatens the back low kicks, which I'm almost sure came. So I think I can't risk letting Spectre eat a Thunder Wave, so I think I will just protect it. This would have been a great time to have a Rain Dance. Rain Dance and Sandsear here. I mean, Gastrodon's not KOing me with Ice Beam here, regardless. So, even if he calls that I don't Terra, I think taking the big damage on Gastrodon is nice. So, we will... Okay, he switches instantly. We protect Spectre. Grass Knot does 60. He's Citrus. Okay, so we got to dodge that last time. He Earth Powers. Okay, great turn 1 play. He Earth Powered, calling us to Terra turn 1. So that is a huge value play for me. Now, this Tornadus can Bleak Wind. It can Icy Wind. Icy Wind probably hurts Landorus, right? I am super AV. If we look at this Tornadus set, Icy Wind, at minimum, it's doing something like 30%. At max, it's doing more like 40%. So it's really not doing that much. So I can just get rid of Gastrodon here with the combination Snarl alongside Grass Knot. And it shouldn't ever outspeed... It could outspeed Landorus after an Icy Wind. I could also just Terra now, take the KO on Tornadus. I really do think the Terra Goodra in the back... Actually, it doesn't matter. I was going to say it's really good into low kicks. But we can assume the low kicks is Tinted Lens. So I can just go for Snarl. I will go for the Terra Electric now and the Terra Blast. Alright, nice. Switches out. We get the Snarl. We do weaken the Tornadus. He does Icy Wind as we anticipated. Does 0 damage. And we Terra Blast KO the Tornadus. So that's a good start. We are slow now, unfortunately. We did want that speed to help us versus the low kicks. Mimi comes back in. So we know his full team. He didn't bring Mouse. We know the low kicks is Taunt. So I can switch in Fungus here, get my speed back on the horse. I think that would be nice. He could go for like Shadow Sneak plus Assurance into Landorus, and it probably KOs. Which means I can actually double pivot into Goodra here. The only thing I really need to beat the Gastrodon in the back is the Landorus. So I don't mind making this double switch. Getting my speed back. Getting the Intimidate, at least for Mimikyu. Keeping Spectre in the back. So we do double switch. Fungus comes in, Goodra comes in. He tears into Dark. Assurance is before his Mimikyu hits me. Play rough. Wow, that's a lot of damage. That hurt a lot. Even though, wow, if the speeds were swapped here, that Assurance would have KO'd, because it would have done 64% on top of the 35. Actually, wait, am I mathing? No, that would have done 99.3%, so Goodra would have lived. We're going to say that's because I EV'd it that way. Definitely no other reason. We're going to Rage Powder with Fungus. So that way Goodra can get a big body press into the low kicks. So if we look at our Goodra set into a low kicks, it's dark, so it doesn't change. Wait, what? Why is body press doing 27%? Huh? Am I crazy? Oh, it's because it's a part bug. Excuse me. It's still early for me, so I forget things sometimes. So yeah, body press doing 55 to 66 here. I assume he taunts Fungus after this. Does Mimikyu get Encore? It doesn't, right? I'm crazy to think Mimikyu might get Encore. Yeah, it doesn't get Encore. It gets Taunt, but we anticipate the taunt. So we will Rage Powder. We will Acid Armor once. He taunts Fungus, which we wanted. Swords Dance Mimi, okay. And we get an Acid Armor instantly. Play Rough did 35% last time, so it shouldn't KO me this time. Unfortunately, he can double into Goodra this turn. So that was a bit of a misplay. I should have just dealt damage to the low kicks while I could. But damage into the low kicks, how much is Fungus dealing with Pollen Puff? 50%. So yeah, I should have just body pressed, huh? I also do kind of want to pop the Mimi's Disguise, so Spectre can just threaten it with a KO, but also it threatens me with a Shadow Sneak. So who's the bigger threat? Probably low kicks. I will Pollen Puff the low kicks. I assume Goodra drops here. If it doesn't, I think a Muddy Water will get the KO. Yeah, so Assurance, play Shadow Claw, okay, it does KO. Go for a big Pollen Puff, does 50%, that's nice. I will go into Landorus. I think I'll go into Landorus, get the double Intimidate, or the one Intimidate on Mimikyu. Because if we look at Spectre, well actually we can look at last game. So Mimikyu did Shadow Claw. The Mimikyu was at what, -1, maybe burned. So if our Spectre always takes a Life Orb Mimikyu +2 Shadow Sneak. But we can't KO the Mimikyu, which is the unfortunate part. The Acid Armor was a bit greedy, I fully admit. Spectre always KOs it. It might KO me back. Without Life Orb, it should never KO me back. Yeah, without Life Orb, Shadow Sneak never KOs Spectre from this percent. It does 88 max. So we'll go into Landorus, get an Intimidate. On the Mimikyu, of course. I think I do pop the Disguise here. Adversely, I KO low kicks. But I think popping the Disguise is important. But he might just KO Landorus here, which makes Gastrodon potentially win the endgame. Does he just ignore Fungus for the rest of the match? Or I guess he ignores Fungus until there's nothing left on the other side. So Pollen Puff KOs low kicks here. We know for sure. Breaks the Disguise on Mimi. And I think at this point I can just break the Disguise on Mimi. Go for the Terra Blast into low kicks if Landorus lives. So he protects. Terra Blast Into the Protect. Shadow Claw doesn't KO Landorus. Pollen Puff breaks the Disguise. So, pretty good turn. Not KOing and not going for Sand Seer to potentially do a little bit of damage to Mimi's not the best. But Shadow Ball should always KO the Mimikyu. Unfortunately, we lose Landorus here. So I think at this point, we just try to make it so that Fungus is beside Spectre for the end game. And we want to get rid of the low kicks because it can taunt Fungus again next turn. So, assuming he doesn't KO Landorus, my best move is to click Sandsear. He does switch. Okay, saves the low kicks. Sandsear actually connects on both and burns the Gastrodon, which is crazy. That's very lucky. Pollen Puff does hit Goodra for 0 damage, and then burn. Okay. So, we can Rage Powder away the Shadow Sneak here. Does a Snarl KO Gastrodon from here? Probably not, right? We saw it was very Spadef. Yeah, Snarl should never KO Gastrodon, unfortunately. But this Fungus is so bulky that Ice Beam from this Gastrodon shouldn't even do half. So what's the bigger threat here? We need to get rid of low kicks. We need to get rid of Mimikyu, and we need to get rid of Gastrodon at some point. I think Gastrodon is the least threatening on the field. So I can Rage Powder, and I can Shadow Ball the Mimikyu. So we do Rage Powder, Shadow Balls Mimikyu, it's gone, and then Gastrodon is forced to hit into... Okay, Gastrodon recovers, which is fine. We're getting a ton of stats. So low kicks comes back in. Does +1 Spectre KO that low kicks? That's the big question now. So Spectre into low kicks. +1. Oh, yeah. It should always KO pretty easily. So I'll Rage Powder again so he can't Sucker Punch Spectre, because we know he's not Goggles, and we will Shadow Ball into it. Even if it protects, yeah, this is fine. Fungus, as long as Fungus doesn't get frozen. Ice Beams, don't get frozen, buddy. Alright, we Rage Powder again, Shadow Ball again. The best move I think he has at this point, yeah, is to double protect, go for another freeze. Doesn't get the freeze. Just to be safe, +2 Spectre into Gastrodon. Should KO always. And should always 2-hit KO at +2. So Rage Powder, you're not getting a triple protect. Don't even. Please, don't even go for it. Okay, he went for it, he didn't get it. We're lucky in that regard. KO the low kicks. We get +2. Ice Beam does KO our poor Fungus, so he does have a death on the board now, sadly. Oh, man, what a game. It's a Citrus Berry that was already popped. Spectre and a Gastrodon, even if it is absolute max special bulk. Calm Nature, whatever. Shadow Ball's always doing 50%. I could protect, but if he recovers, that's a potential game-losing play off an Ice Beam freeze. So, we do go for the Shadow Ball into the Goodra. Or, sorry, not the Goodra, the Gastrodon. And we get the KO. And we somehow win. Wow. Great games to Cram. Cram, you're a fantastic battler. You brought some amazing prep. I feel like in some ways I got lucky, like with that double connect on the Sandsear and the burn. It definitely helped keep Gastrodon in range of that Shadow Ball. I don't think Gastrodon ever KOs Spectre from there, even if you do get one hit. But if you had something like, I'm not even sure what move would change, Muddy Water, drop my accuracy, maybe that could have done it. But regardless, we do somehow pull out a win. This is some of the best draft games I feel like I've played. I feel like I actually played pretty decently this game. Definitely messed up a little on this turn 1, game 1. Otherwise, I think we recouped, we re-strategized based on his team, and we got the dub. So, yeah, thank you for watching. I know this is going to be a longer one, but I'm kind of excited. So, yeah, we'll see you next week. And actually, we'll see you sooner than that because we have some videos coming out on the DLC. So, look forward to that. And like and subscribe.